Hello, everybody. Adam Parks here with another episode of Receivables Roundtable. Today, I'm here with my good friend, Brooke Teal, who is the Vice President of Business Development for EverChain. How you doing today, Brooke?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Another day in paradise, enjoying the warm weather as it starts to cool down around the country.
We have some pretty cold weather here in Atlanta, so I'm very jealous.
Cold weather in Atlanta scares me. I'm hoping it's not coming any further south. Let's leave it up there. For those of our viewers that are not familiar with you, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got to the seat that you're in today?
Yes, so I am currently working for EverChain, and in my role, I am not practicing, but I am a licensed attorney in 3 states. I started in this industry at Midland and Encore as a staff attorney, where I learned how to handle a high volume caseload, learned about this receivables management industry, and had the opportunity to try a lot of debt buyer cases. From there, I went to Jefferson Capital Systems, and I kind of built out their entire in-house Florida legal process. They hadn't been in-house in Florida prior to me joining. So I got to do the workflows, the processes, the pleadings, and manage the state of Florida for Jefferson Capital, which was really cool. From there, I went to Lloyd & McDaniel, a creditors' rights law firm, and I represented both lenders and debt buyers. I opened their Florida office, and then I took the Georgia bar and opened their Georgia office for them. And then I took the Alabama bar, and then I managed Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. Again, I was doing debt buyer litigation, and I absolutely loved the people I worked with and for at Midland, JCAP, and Lloyd & McDaniel. I loved my clients and I loved litigating, but I didn't love litigating the debt buyer cases. So I kind of wondered if there was something else out there for me, or if there was a different process for the whole debt sale thing. And I was at RMAI in Vermont, the Executive Summit, and I met Matthew Ratton, Daniel Green, and Jen Wilson with EverChain, and they explained that they had this compliant debt sale process that followed the account through the life of the loan. And I thought it kind of answered a lot of the issues that I was seeing in the courtroom. And I believed in their mission, and I wanted to be a part of it. And that's how I ended up here.
Well, that's a fantastic story. For those that are not familiar with EverChain, and I know EverChain is going through a rebranding right now. So EverChain, formerly Debt Trader. But can you tell everybody a little bit about the organization and what you guys do over there?
Yes, so EverChain is a complete recovery management solution that facilitates compliant debt sales. As to the debt sale process specifically, there are really 2 parts, the EverChain network and the platform. We only have vetted, certified buyers on our network, and we maintain due diligence and oversight with those buyers, as well as their agencies and law firms. On the other hand, our platform ensures a clean and compliant debt sale process. Our platform removes PII, it scrubs for bankruptcies, deceased accounts, and out of stat accounts. And it really enables a triple blind auction process for the portfolio as well. All of those, code-driven compliance features ensure the sale of clean paper to the right buyer at a fair price. Additionally, our compliance team in connection with the platform provide oversight of each account throughout the entire life of the loan. This is really different from a traditional sale or a sale with a traditional broker, where there's no oversight or monitoring after the sale of the account. So when a lender puts a portfolio on our platform, they know that we'll be tracking and monitoring it post-sale, and they'll be notified if there happens to be a complaint. In my role specifically, I'm seeking out the right creditors to join our network and place their defaulted accounts on our platform. It's related to my previous role as an attorney, where I represented parties on both sides. I really knew that they would benefit from the EverChain process, and I knew that with my connections and experience, I would be a good bridge to bring them to the EverChain network. And that's how I ended up in this role.
Wow. Well, I've done that debt brokerage job before. It's not an easy role, but I think some of the litigation experience, right? Because when you understand what the end user is going to do with the product, it really does improve your ability to assist both sides of the transaction. You understand what the creditor needs, you understand what the debt buyer needs, and you've been in the courtroom handling those things. I think that's a very brave transition, right? Going from kind of what you knew for so many years into this new role, but it sounds like you're kind of the perfect fit for it. I can say for those of you watching, what kind of impressed me the most about Brooke, I met Brooke, really, we started interacting for the first time at the RMAI Atlanta event for the Braves game, which is, where she's based out of. We immediately got into a conversation about charitable giving and community involvement and all of those things because we're both very involved in our own communities. And that really just kind of blew me away. And I know that you do so many different things that we're going to try and condense it into the amount of time that we have for today's episode. But tell us a little bit. I mean, I know you're involved in so many things, whether it be leukemia, animals, battered women's shelters. You guys do so many different things. Tell me, let's start somewhere. Let's start with the leukemia because you're currently up for Women of the Year with one of the organizations. Tell us a little bit about that and kind of what got you involved and how all that has worked out for you.
Yeah, so I started, my friend Julia, she was the Woman of the Year last year. She won and I was on her team. We raised over 500 grand for leukemia and lymphoma. My grandfather was a leukemia patient and we were very, very close. So it was something that was dear to my heart. And I was so excited to find out that I'm nominated to do the Women of the Year competition this year. And basically we have 10 weeks starting April 1st to raise as much money as we can through corporate donations, personal donations, events, any way we can make that money in 10 weeks and compete to see who wins at the end. And a lot of people don't know that the research that Leukemia and Lymphoma Society doesn't just benefit leukemia patients. Their research has benefited all cancers. So helping with leukemia and lymphoma and that research really helps us all and anyone who's been impacted by cancer.
That sounds like a difficult challenge, 10 weeks to raise capital. But fortunately, I think that comes across at a pretty good time of the year too. So look forward to hopefully helping you a little bit with that. And we'll make sure that we get the message out to the industry because what an important cause and something obviously that's so close to your own heart. So tell us a little bit about some of the other stuff that you're involved in. I know that you're I've heard the story of your dog Bandit and kind of how you came across finding Bandit and the work that you've done with the animal shelters. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, anyone who knows me has already heard me talk about Bandit way too much, and I'm going to keep going. So my dog Bandit, the love of my life, somebody found him on the side of the road on New Year's a couple of years ago, and they took him to the shelter, and he was all bald and malnourished, and no one was adopting him because he was bald and malnourished. And he was at the Forsyth County Animal Shelter, and they have a really cool program where they partner with Forsyth County Jail, and it's the inmates who are really well behaved get to take care of the dogs and train them. So Bandit went to jail for 5 weeks and received training and love, and the inmates, got to work with them and show up somewhere on time and get used to kind of like showing up for a job. So I bailed him out and named him Bandit. And the inmate that was taking care of him, when he was released, he got a job at the dog training facility. So now he is gainfully employed with the dog training facility, which is really cool. So I care a lot about shelter animals, and I've been volunteering at the Atlanta Humane Society since I moved to Atlanta, which is really more of a hands-on instead of volunteering. Like I'm there taking care of the dogs, cleaning up everything you don't want to clean up, loving them. And it is just so exciting. It's so exciting when they go to a good home, and I absolutely love it. And who doesn't love to just cuddle with puppies all day? So that's something that I really enjoy.
True statement. Who doesn't want to cuddle with puppies all day? I think that might be the best quote I've had on a Receivables Roundtable. Now, from an organizational standpoint, EverChain's involved in the local community as well. And you guys have, I saw at least on LinkedIn and Instagram that you guys were doing some donations of time and those kinds of things. And I know Matthew and Daniel and the EverChain team are always involved in a number of different things. Tell us a little bit about what's going on over at EverChain from a community involvement standpoint.
Yeah, ever since I joined EverChain, I've heard such a commitment to charity by the entire organization, and especially our CEO, Matthew Ratton. We did, instead of just a holiday party, when we were all out in Vegas, we had a list of kids in need from Shade Tree. Shade Tree is a shelter for women and children in crisis, abuse, or just any kind of crisis that they need a really safe shelter.
Mhm.
And we had a list of names, and we went to Target and we bought toys for all of them for Christmas and wrapped them. And I feel a little sad about some of the wrapping that I saw from the men at EverChain, but that's okay. Um, but we went and we had a great time shopping for the gifts, and we brought them to Shade Tree and dropped them off. And another cool thing about Shade Tree, which is connected to animals again, of course, they also shelter animals, because a lot of women that are in an abusive situation trying to get their family out, most shelters don't allow their pets. So that's one more obstacle to get them out of the home. And Shade Tree had a huge animal shelter, and they take in the pets and really do everything they can to help the women get back on their feet and to make a sustainable life instead of just keeping them there, for the time being. It's a really great organization.
That's really incredible. I mean, I can imagine that a lot of people don't want to leave because of their pets. And to have that additional option available really does make, I'm sure, a huge difference in kind of that process. With all the time, I mean, I don't know how you get everything done, working full time, being an attorney, and, all this time spent with charities. Help me understand, what kind of drove you towards the community involvement path, right? Like what was it for you that made you say, all right, like this is how I want to spend my time?
I mean, I am fortunate to live a great life. And I can't not give back. I couldn't sit here and not help out someone. It also makes me a happier person. I'm so much happier when I'm giving back instead of just, spending money on myself or spending time on myself. I think it's an important thing for anyone to give back to their community and, find something that is important to you and do something about it.
I agree wholeheartedly. I find that a lot of times the receivables management industry, especially in the press, gets a bad rap. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that nobody's out there really talking about all the different things that they're doing. And I do try and do an episode of Receivables Roundtable at least every couple of months where I talk with somebody about all the work that they're doing in their local community, because it is so important, not only that we continue to do these things for ourselves and for the good of our industry, but also that somebody tell the story about it, because so much of this goes unseen and off in the shadows, because it's an organization or a group of people that are not generally looking for a lot of praise, right? Like we're used to kind of the abuse that we get as debt collectors. And so I think people sometimes forget that how important it is to tell the story of kind of like who we are as individuals and the kind of work that we do. I think it sounds like you're having a lot of fun while you're doing it too, especially when you're working with getting to cuddle with puppies all day. Again, the best quote I've ever had on this channel. Is there anything else that you have, going on over at EverChain? I know RMAI annual conference is coming up, so we'll get to actually see you out in Vegas. I'm sure that some of our viewers are going to want to talk to you about cuddling with puppies, but is there anything else that they should be talking with you about out at the annual conference?
You know, um, I love to talk about EverChain, and that sounds super cheesy, but we're talking about giving back to the community and the way that we can help others. I really firmly believe that not only does EverChain help our buyers and our buyers and our lenders, we really do help the consumer as well by making sure that our agencies and our law firms and whoever is connected to our network in any way is doing everything compliantly, making sure that accounts aren't sold twice. I think what I actually do for a living does help the community, and it does help the consumers that are affected by these defaulted accounts. So I'm happy to talk about EverChain. I'm happy to talk about puppies. I'm happy to talk about any fun events that you have planned, because I always like to have a good time as well. So I'm really excited about the RMAI event, and I think it's going to be great educationally, and I'm just excited to get to talk to everyone there.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to seeing you out there. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me today. This has been a fun conversation. I've enjoyed getting to know you a little bit better and to learn more about you and EverChain and your organization over the past couple of months. And I look forward to carrying that out into the future. For those of you that are watching, if you have any additional questions that you'd like to see me ask Brooke, or people that you'd like to see me interview, please feel free to leave it in the comments below. Both Brooke and I will be responding to any of those comments on both YouTube and LinkedIn. Until next time, though, Brooke, I'll see you at RMAI in a couple of weeks.
Yep. I'll see you soon.
Awesome. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.